Let's talk about managing customer notifications within a Jira Service Management project. Do you get many customer requests in languages that your agents can't speak? Then Language Translations for JSM by our good friends over at Resolution is the perfect app for you. It allows you to leave a great impression on your customers without having to hire folks to speak every specific language that your customers speak. Check it out in the marketplace, and by the way, there's a 20% discount in the description down below, so make sure you use that when you start your trial. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, drop a like if you get value out of this video, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. Now, if you've ever had a customer create a request via your service portal or via email, then you know that they typically receive some sort of notification. Now, I do want to be very, very explicit here. There are two types of notifications that occur within a Jira Service Management project. There's a notification that goes to the agent. We are not going to be talking about those. But what we are going to be talking about are the notifications that go out to the customer, to the person that submitted the request. Now keep in mind, most of the time, this is an individual that does not have a Jira Service Management license. They don't have access to the queue itself. They don't have access to Jira. They only have the ability to submit requests and view knowledge-based articles. And so these notifications are going to be unique, and thankfully, we can actually modify them. So if you've ever been unhappy or unsatisfied with what your customers get, I'm going to show you a couple of tips and tricks on how to modify and make your notifications a little bit more unique and a little bit more customized, personable to you and your company. Let's jump into JSM. So within JSM, you are going to want to be a project level administrator for your project. We're going to come down here all the way to the left, bottom left, and click on project settings. Once we're here, we are going to be looking for customer notifications. Again, I want to stress that there's two types of notifications, and we want to make sure you click on customer notifications, because if you click on the wrong one, you're not going to get what we're actually trying to achieve in this video. So right here, it says customer notifications. Please make sure that you select this one, because if you keep scrolling down, you will find that there's a notification section. That is not the correct one. That notification is for your agents. It's for the licensed users. And we're not touching that in this particular video. So make sure you scroll up and we click on customer notifications. So once you're there, I'm going to basically walk you through what's available here. What can you do here? All right, so the first thing that you're going to be able to modify is the sender name. This allows you to configure how notifications are sent from this particular project. And keep in mind that every Jira Service Management project you have is going to have these unique settings. So you're going to want to modify them by the project. The option that you have is to display the user's public name for user-generated messages, or always display the portal name of this project. Now, I don't particularly care. I always leave the default one up here. So I would recommend you leave it alone as well. I have hardly ever configured one where it's set to always display the portal name. I always just leave the user's public name. It's a little bit more personable. Now, we have templates. I am going to skip over the template for now, and I'm going to come down to the actual notifications, because the notifications is really the focus of this video, which is what email goes out to the users. Now, the first thing I want to cover here is that you actually have a handful of notifications. Now, keep in mind, if what you're trying to notify your customer on is not in this list, then you're not going to be able to leverage the built-in notifications. There are still going to be ways to achieve a notification to your customers, but you're going to want to have to rely on automations for that. If you want the out-of-the-box notifications that are supported, you are limited to only these. And so you're going to have customer invited, request created, public comments added, public comments edited, request resolved, request reopened, participant added, organization added, approval required, and customer visible status changed. Now, the most common ones that most teams usually relate with are the request created, the public comments added, the request resolved, and the approval required messages. Sometimes the customer visible ones, although usually most people just accept the out of the box there. So let's assume that you've been sending out these notifications and you're just not quite happy with the wording. So let's, again, for an example's sake, assume that we just want to modify the message that goes out when a new request is created. Now keep in mind that the steps that I'm about to show you are going to be exactly the same for whatever one of these options you pick. I'm just going to show you how to do one of them for the sake of the example. So for request created, we're going to come over here, and basically this one's for when customers create a request in the portal to send an email to your email channel. Your Jira Service Management project is going to send a confirmation email. So this is immediate. This is every single person that submits a request, they're going to get this one. And let's just say that you want to add a little bit more information, because typically there's not a whole lot of information on there, but let's assume that you want to include some more metadata, and I'm going to show you what is and isn't possible in these requests. So all you got to do is come over here to the edit button and click on it. So once you click on that one, you're going to be able to see that you can modify the two. You're going to be able to modify who is going to get these emails. So typically it's the customers involved. This basically literally means that it's the person that created the request and or any requested participants. You can, however, update this, right? You could add yourself. You can add other emails. You can customize this in whatever way you want, but you can essentially change the two. I don't recommend you change the two though, because this is designed to go to the person that submitted the request. And if you want your agents to know about the request, they're going to get the agent request anyways, because there's a whole notification section for the people that are licensed. So you want to keep your hat on and the perspective of these are only going to be emails that are going out to people submitting your requests. And so that's the mindset that you want to have when you're looking at this. It doesn't make sense to exclude the person who caused the action, because that's typically going to basically null out the email that goes out. So that doesn't make sense, but it's available if you want to change it. Coming down here, the content. This section right here is where you actually make your changes. This section down here is what shows you what it's going to look like after you add your changes in the content section. So really, I want you to focus on the content section, because this is where the magic happens. This is where you're going to be able to modify and actually then see what's it going to look like when you send it out. So most requests out of the box are going to look like this. Just confirming that we got your request. We're on it. Okay. That's the vanilla. That's just like exactly what goes out. But the most interesting thing here is that you can do a couple of things. One, you can basically reword this thing if you don't like it. So you can say, hey, welcome. Thank you for your request, right? So you can do something like this. Hello, comma. Thank you for reaching out to our help desk. And so you can just leave something like that. But what if you want to make it a little bit more personable, right? What if you want to say, hello, user? Well, you actually have this insert variable section over here. And if you click on that, you're going to be able to see the options that you have available to yourself. So you can actually say, hello, recipient name, right? And so this section here, we can just copy this code, put it right here under hello. And now it's going to go and say, hello, John, hello, Mary, right? Whatever name there is. And then you're going to say, thank you for reaching out to our help desk. We're just confirming that we're on your request. Okay. And so you can put something like request name, request number, right? And when you do that, you can simply come here, insert your variable. You can put in the summary. You can put in the key. Remember, if your agents need to engage in conversations with customers that don't speak their native language, you can make everyone's lives easier with language translations for JSM. And it's not just about the translations. You can build queues for customers by language, or simply automate assignments so that your specific language speakers are automatically given that specific ticket based on their specific language. Check it out in the Atlassian Marketplace, and don't forget that there's a 20% code in the description down below. And that's it. So now what happens is when you do send out this email, as you can see down here, it will start to essentially fill it in. Now something is wrong here with my recipient name. It's not working correctly. I might have accidentally messed something up. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove this section and put it in again, and actually put it in the right spot this time. There we go. So as you can see here, in the rendered version of the real time of what's actually going to go out, you'll see the hello, Poe Dameron. Thank you for reaching out to our help desk, just confirming that we got your request, and then you got request name, not enough traction in sand, and your request number is BB8. Now this is an example. If you click on the send me a test email, you will actually see basically this email go out to you, but when an actual request is raised, the real information from that real issue is what's actually going to be sent out. Now, optionally, you can send in the resolution, the request URL, the request status, or the portal name, or the name of the person who caused the action, which is sometimes you can submit on behalf of somebody else, so you can see who submitted that. But anyways, those are the options. Those are the variables you can put in. And you can also, of course, make things bold, italicized, add some bullets, add some number lists, add some emojis and stuff like that. So some simple stuff that you can do to make it a little bit more personable. But once you're done with all that, once you kind of set it up correctly and the way you want it, again, with the bounds of the variables that you have available to you, then all you got to do, and again, I would recommend you send a test email just to make sure that it looks okay. But once you're done, you're going to just click on the save button here, and that's it. Now that specific request created is going to go out with that information in the format that you just set it up. And then for everything else, right, for this customer invited, for all these other options, you can always just click on that edit button there and modify it and make it unique. And if you ever wanted to turn a notification off, maybe you just don't want to care for your customers to know that they got invited, you can simply just turn that off. It'll disable it. If you're not using approvers, turn that off. If you're not using organizations, turn that off. It doesn't hurt because if you're not using it, it's kind of like a moot point. The email's not going to go out, but you can always just turn those on and off depending on if you're going to use them or not. So all you got to do is move the slider across. So anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, keep in mind that this is for the customer notifications, not for the notifications that are sent to your agents, the ones that are actually going to work the requests. This is simply to the people, to the person, to the individuals that go to your portal or via email and submit requests. Those are going to be considered your customers, and these are the notifications that are going to be going to them or not, depending on your configuration. And at least now you know how to alter the messaging. So if you wanted to make it a little bit more personal, these are the options that you have available to you and your team to modify for your customers. Getting tickets in Arabic, Chinese, or Spanish? No problem. With language translation for JSM, your agents will engage with your customers as if they were natives. Simply install the app from the Atlassian Marketplace and define your project default language and go. Oh, and while you're doing that, make sure you check out the description down below because our good friends over at Resolution have provided us with a 20% discount that you can use when you sign up for language translation for JSM. Don't miss this chance as they only have a few left. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you smash that subscribe button. I want to remind you that this is part of the Summer of Atlassian 2.0 and we are trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. We are very, very close, and we're only going to be able to get there if you take a second here and just smash the subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you drop a like if you got value out of the video. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, finally, make sure you check out the description down below to see all the different ways that you can help support the channel. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need